Hi there, and welcome back to The Bridge. I hope you're doing so well. I hope you're having an amazing week. And if you're not, then I hope that it continuously improves and gets so much better. So, as seen from the title, we are starting almost a new series, and it's going to consist of multiple videos that I'm going to record, and I'm not going to do it all in one video because I feel that it's going to be too long. I think each thing needs to be unpacked on its own. So the series that we're starting is things I could have done differently in university. The first thing that I wish I could have done differently that we're really going to spend time speaking about is I wish I could have asked more questions. I wish I could have asked more questions in lectures. I wish I could have asked the questions that were in my heart that I really wanted to ask, but I was too scared to. Um, and the reason why I think most of us don't ask questions, and this is a huge generalization because I know that there are people who are brave enough to ask those questions, but for me, and I think a lot of people, the reason why I didn't ask questions was because of fear, right? I was scared. I was scared that I might look dumb, I might look stupid, I might look incompetent. It is more like an insecurity thing. Like, what would it say about me and my competence and what I can and can't do? Or, should I have understood it, but I'm not? Like, again, what does it say about me? But I just want to talk about the impact that it has on me now because to this day, I still have those questions. Some of those questions I still think about, and I wish that I could have asked them because had I asked them, I would have had knowledge or a piece of knowledge that I would have liked to have, even if it was a thing of interest and not necessarily passing. Which is what I would say to you today is please ask questions. Please ask questions about things that you don't understand, about concepts that you're struggling to understand. Please ask questions in class. If you feel really uncomfortable asking questions in front of your colleagues or your classmates, then what you can do is directly after class, usually the lecturer will remain at the front of the class. So you can then quickly rush down and ask them a question. However, sometimes lecturers are in a hurry to get to their next class, or there is another class that is using your venue. So then everyone is forced to quickly leave. If that's the case, then you can ask your question in an email and you can send the lecturer an email. However, if your question is an in-depth question that will require a long, thorough explanation, then it's probably more advisable that you then book a consultation with your lecturer. And lecturers are more than willing and you are more than welcome to go see them. So, send an email. If you send an email with a question that is too in depth to answer and you're not sure whether it should be an email or a consultation, start off with email and your lecturer will let you know if it's better to have a consultation or not, right? Book a consultation, and this is where you can prepare all your questions before the consultation. Come to them and say, Professor, ma'am, sir, these are my uncertainties. I need clarity regarding this concept. I don't fully understand this or that. And that's when you have the opportunity to ask those questions. Some lecturers have like walk-in times. So they'll say, guys, on a Tuesday between 2 p.m. and 4 p.m., you are more than welcome to walk into my office. I'll be there to answer any questions that you may have. Use those opportunities. So let's go back to this fear of asking questions. Can I just say that majority of lecturers are open to answering questions that you might have, no matter how basic or how complicated. Majority of lecturers are excited when someone shows interest in learning about their field, especially with consultations. They show so much interest because this is something that they've learned about for so long. So most lecturers don't mind your questions. In fact, they welcome them. Honestly, I really do believe that there is no such thing as a stupid question. And it goes back to what your grade 2 teacher was saying, like, guys, there's no such thing as a stupid question. And as we grew older, we thought, I think there could be, but there isn't. And the reason why I say this is because of two things. First of all, every single human being on this planet will, most days, have a question about something basic or something mundane that they just need to clarify. They just need clarification on. They just need an explanation on. They just, it says nothing about their intelligence. It says nothing, but it does say something about the human experience of life, which is that we're always learning something new every single day. And it's good to ask basic questions. It's good to ask, why this, why that, why does this work like that, why does this work like that, right? At the end of the day, the person that asks that question, guys, they learn more than the person who didn't ask the question. They walk away with a piece of information and a new knowledge that they didn't have before, right? That some of us were too scared to ask about. They walk away with a little bit more clarity and peace and certainty in their hearts, because there no longer exists this confusion in this certain area of life, or in the certain area of in an industry. They just walk away with more knowledge, right? And to gain knowledge, you have to ask. You have to be willing to ask the question. The second reason why I say that there is no such thing as a stupid question is because knowledge really is about the fundamentals. And let me give some context to this, right? So I, as you know, studied law, and I did a bit of research, and I realized that the higher you go in terms of research, the lower you have to go. In that, the person who knows the most knows the most because they asked questions about the basics, and they asked questions about the fundamentals. For example, a building, right? They had to study, they had to take that building apart and study each building block, each brick, what makes up that brick, how it got that way, and then slowly rebuild the building again. And so you'll find that you'll find, according to my observations, you'll find that the best teachers and the best lecturers are people who are fluent in the fundamentals, in the basics. They know the basics well, and because they know the basics well, they have a good foundation of knowledge to build on. The problem is that a lot of us walk into rooms where there are like these big words being used, and especially academic settings where there's these big words being used, all this very complex professional language that's being used. And when you ask a basic question, right, when you ask a question about something that seems to be obvious, that seems to be basic, you'll find that a lot of the times people struggle to explain it, or people don't actually know what it is or how it works. Well, that's because we're all trying to be here, and we forget and don't realize that knowledge is here. Like that's where you start. If you can grasp this, then all this is fluff. That's all just to say the basic questions, and questions that address basic and simple things, are never to be looked down upon, because once you get clarity on that, then other things will just fall into place. So don't look down on your colleagues or on classmates for asking questions that for you seem basic or simple, but they're actually very like fundamental to that module that you're doing. So if there's one thing to take out of this video, is please ask questions. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have anything to add, agree, disagree with, please put it in the comment box down below. And if there's any videos that you would like to see, please also put those video ideas in the comments down below, and I will definitely respond to you. Thank you so much for spending your time here, and I'll see you in the next video.